You want to do a countdown?
3,
Okay.
2, 1. We roll.
Peace and blessings, everyone. This is Asa Khalif with a special edition of our podcast. And it's an emergency podcast because there's a lot of things that we have to discuss. And of course, we have, I think, up and coming legend, legendary, always a fighter for the people, District Attorney Larry Krasner. Thank you, Larry, for taking this. I know this is an emergency type of interview with your time, but thank you for making time for us to discuss a few things.
Let me just tell you something. I knew if you were going to be the interviewer, it would be the best interview of the week. The only thing that surprises me is you're not holding a megaphone for this interview.
Don't worry about it. It's on reserve.
But I'm depends on my answers, right?
Where you gonna megaphone with you, Larry?
But I'm delighted to be here.
Thank you so much. As you know, we're celebrating Pride, where a lot of our LGBTQ members celebrating and just being who they are. You have a lot to do with celebration of that as an ally. A lot of people need reminding the fact that you have an LGBTQ Advisory Committee. It's something that has never been done under any district attorney before. And I think because we're in Pride, that should be highlighted. Full disclosure, I'm a part of the committee on that. And our Kelly Burkhardt leads that, and with a slew of members from the community. But I wanted to target, because when we came to you with the idea, some of the grassroots activists, you didn't turn a blind eye. You were at every meeting. You were part of the building of it, and you were a man of your word. It's in fruition. I believe it's 5 years now in. And so just kind of touch on what exactly LGBTQ Advisory does in terms of helping with victims and the fact that they have support here in the District Attorney's Office.
Sure. So, I mean, look, obviously my job is to protect everyone. It is also to protect the rights of everyone. And as you and a lot of us are well aware, the rights of LGBTQ people,
Yes.
the bodily integrity and safety of LGBTQ people have not always been protected the way they should by government and by law enforcement and by this office, which is the District Attorney's Office. I remember not fondly the relationship that Lynn Abraham had with members of the LGBTQ community who were in ACT UP, who were trying to get the U.S. government to do something about HIV and AIDS when the U.S. government didn't want to do a damn thing about it. You know, I remember that not fondly. So I think it is extremely important that we have advisory committees on many topics, and this is an important one. You, Sappho Fulton, Andrea Harrington have been very consistent, very important voices in that group. Everybody who knows the three of you knows you don't back down.
Absolutely.
That you are principled and you are serious and you are passionate about what you believe. And, you know, it is important to me. So I think we are actually the ones who should be grateful that we have the opportunity to get this input. Things happen. Things have been happening in Philly recently. You know, my office is currently in the middle of a sentencing hearing for a convicted terrorist who did research, did experiments with bombs, and as you are aware, and the LGBTQ community is aware, did research around possible bomb attack on Pride, among other targets, and there were several. But obviously that is horrifying.
Absolutely.
That is frightening. That is shocking. No one wants to see a repeat of the Boston Marathon bombing. No one wants to see a repeat of terrorist acts that occurred in New Orleans. And the record is quite clear. And our FBI partners will confirm this. The trial confirmed this. The record is quite clear that that is exactly what this now young man was about.
Yeah,
So,
and this office has been on top of that. I mean, it's with our community, it's the first time that you really feel that you have someone in this office. And there are a lot of people who have occupied this office. You had Rendell, you had Steph Williams, you had Lynn. But it's the first time that I think the community members really say we have an ally who shows up every time we need them and shows up in a powerful voice, which is needed. You need both. You need to be able to bring attention to public officials, in this case the district attorney's office, and be taken seriously. And so, and also the fact that victims here in the community know that they can contact the DA's office if there's an issue. It doesn't matter if it's regular person on the street, law enforcement, domestic. They have an ally here that will hear them, listen to them, and will find ways to do whatever they can to protect them. Which leads me into my second question and discussion. As you are aware, and I just want to say this just right before you answer, the views and opinions expressed by me, Asa Khalif, is not that of the district attorney, all right? So bring your hate train to me. I can handle it. He can handle it too, but don't bring it to him because he's not saying it. So the cops came into the gayborhood on Sunday during Pride celebration and just was a stormtrooper. It was something right out of the Star Wars, and I told you, like the Empire Strike Back. They came in and you felt the anger, you felt the hatred, generational hatred coming out of law enforcement. Many black and brown bodies were targeted, as footage have now emerged in photos. From the activist point, we're going to take to the streets. We have taken to the streets. We're doing what we need to do to move it forward. But reason why I'm asking is particularly is this is where the district attorney's office plays a role, because there were victims that I've spoken to, victims who are afraid to still come forward with information. It's their choice if they choose to do that or not. I just want to make sure it assures them that they hear from the district attorney that if they don't want to go to law enforcement for whatever reason, triggering, the fact that they feel unsafe, that this is a safe space to come to file a complaint, and not only just dealing with law enforcement, any type of violence towards a member of our community and they're victimized, that they can come here to the district attorney's office, be listened to, and be helped as well with the support that they need. Regarding what you know so far with the police, would you like to make a comment on that, Mr. Attorney?
Sure. Number one, yes, we absolutely do want to hear from people who believe they have been harmed, whether it is by law enforcement or by someone else, but for some reason are not comfortable going to law enforcement to report it. That's always been our position. We have a unit, the Special Investigations Unit, that prosecutes law enforcement when they commit crimes. And this administration has historic successes that no prior prosecutor in Philadelphia has had in terms of convicting police officers and other law enforcement for beatdowns, for homicides, for perjury, for making illegal statements, etc. You know, the record speaks for itself. So that's not to say we are in favor or against police. It's to say we are fair to police just as we are fair to other people, including vulnerable people. And LGBTQ people are sometimes vulnerable. So yes, come to us. If you're comfortable doing it, and on our record I think you should be, come to us. We are happy to take your information, your complaints. We don't confirm or deny whether there are existing investigations. But I will also say this, because you know I check in on public events, not all of them, but a lot of them. I have checked in on Pride over a period of years. You know, walked through it, and I was there for part of the activity in the gayborhood this year, and there definitely was a different scenario. I've never seen Pride happen in the gayborhood with the streets cleared and everybody jammed up on the sidewalk with some sort of metal separation. I've never seen that before.
It was strange because this is a normal. It's not like it was sprung on law enforcement, the police. This is a tradition during Pride where you take to the streets and you enjoy yourself. It's a festival type of feel to it. It's not the first time that people congregate and enjoy themselves in the neighborhood. I think what's so sad is in 2026, we see that when there's just a little bit of room to brutalize, and this is my opinion, based on my experience and just based on what we saw, a little bit of room to be violent. They took that, and I think it's something about going into sacred, safe spaces and violating that. It's traumatizing. even if you're not hit with a baton, even if you wasn't tased, even if you wasn't physically harmed, there's still harm because you've gone into a community where we've sacrificed and built safety and you violated that. And it has to be addressed. It has to be addressed, in my opinion, in the streets, in peaceful protest and outrage, and it has to be addressed with our political figures, and our public figures, to bring that type of accountability. And I think one thing about this office is that, and your record speaks for itself, you're going to get transparency and you're going to get accountability. So I thank you for that.
No, of course, and and without expressing opinions on that, without
Yes.
saying whether there's an investigation or not, there
Mhm.
certainly are. In my prior capacity as a defense lawyer and civil rights lawyer, I've represented a lot of protesters, a lot of people who got arrested at public events where they were expressing themselves in some way that was not 100% popular.
I think I know one protester that's in this room.
That may be, but I don't disclose my former clients.
Absolutely.
But let me just say this. There are questions. I mean, I will tell you that my experience with civil affairs officers who have specialized training to deal with protest has definitely been better than what has happened historically when you have police officers who are less familiar with that work and maybe in a very sort of physical and aggressive aspect of policing, like narcotics, something like that. Training matters and experience matters. So if I were asking questions, I would have some questions about the assignments. If I were asking questions, I would have some questions about the separation. And, as you said, it's always been, I must have been there 10 years.
Yes.
It's always been a festival. Often you had stages
Mhm.
set up in the middle of the street. You had
Absolutely.
music, and you had people who were on those stages. This had a very different feel to it like I've never seen before. So I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm not expressing an opinion. I would have questions on that, and I would have questions on what it means to jam so many people onto sidewalks, whether that was necessary. I would have questions about the use of loud sirens and police motorcycles, the language that was used, the social medias that have surfaced.
Just to clear one thing up too, because it seems to be confusion. There were police officers with masks on. Has the policy changed with Philadelphia police wearing masks or not wearing masks? The policy that I am under the understanding is that the fact that police officers are not to cover their faces. We saw that on Sunday. Has the policy changed, or they just decided to do what the hell they wanted to do?
To the best of my knowledge, there has been no change in policy
Okay.
on uniformed police officers being visible, having visible badges with names and numbers on them. To my knowledge, what ICE is doing is not okay under those circumstances.
Because it caused chaos when the officers came with their face covered. Someone yelled ICE, you can hear that in some of the video, and it caused even more chaos and
Well,
fear.
I would definitely encourage whoever, whether it's you or other members of the community, to reach out to the police commissioner, to reach out to the mayor. I would like to think that they don't want this kind of activity. I would also have a question as to whether part of what occurred here with moving the event to Ben Franklin Parkway, with charging people money, which has not been my experience in the past. And I'm not in the room for this stuff, so maybe I'm
Right.
missing something here, but I'm curious whether this was a reaction to the arrest of a terrorist who had designs, whether what happened here was well considered or ill considered in terms of how to address that kind of a situation. But I would like to think that the police commissioner wants no part of any abuses that may have occurred. I said may, I didn't say did.
Right.
I would like to think the mayor wants no part of any abuses that may have occurred. And I know one thing for sure, you and your friends and your megaphones know how to use your First Amendment right to get government to take notice and to be responsible.
Well, pride came out of the riot, so it's nothing new to use your voice, especially in the most vulnerable people in this community. Just real quick, I just wanted to say concerns of the Parkway and the gayborhood. We've always had a choice in terms of partying, not so much how it took place last week, but in the community, there was always private parties. There was always, at one time it was at the pier, Penn's Landing, and I think what law enforcement, in my opinion, did on Sunday, you took and violated people's choice. You behaved at the Parkway and danced and was nice because you had eyes on you. I mean, other celebrities were there, so you knew not to act the fool. But you came into this community where you could hide in the cracks, in my opinion, and you did what you did. And I'm saying those who participated in law enforcement. But I just wanted to make that distinction. Moving on to something light, because we'll be here all day, and I'm trying to be on my best behavior when it comes to it, because I'm mad as hell what took place Sunday, and I want to keep that with me and my people and not bring you into it in that capacity. So, one of the last questions. How do you think the advisory committee that you helped create is doing, and would you rank it 1 to 10, and is it 4 or 5 stars? Just based on its existence for 5 years now.
I mean, I give it an 8, and the only reason I say 8 is the pandemic messed up the flow. You know, there came a moment when, like, all good things shut down. It's a very good thing, and it had to shut down. But, you know, as the years go on, it'll be a 9 and it'll be a 10. I think it's incredibly important, and it's incredibly important that people who are involved remain strong and remain principled. These are tough times, as we all know. And so I think it's an enormous asset. I think it's very important.
Yes.
And I certainly hope that whenever I get up out of here, as they say in the churches, I certainly hope that it will continue with whoever might take my chair.
I hope so too, Larry. I really do. My last question to you, and I wouldn't be a podcaster if I had you here and not ask you this question. Little birdies are running around saying that you are thinking about running for the mayor of Philadelphia. Now, you don't have to give me this scoop now. You can blink twice if it's yes, however you want to do it. But
I can't blink at all because you said that. I have to just keep staring.
Are you considering running? And is there a possibility, or are you just kicking it around?
So here's the truth, because I tend to stick with the truth, which gets me in a lot of trouble. The truth is that I have no plan to run for mayor. I have no plan to run for senator, and people come up to me a lot to ask. Some other people come up and aren't as friendly, but a lot of friendly people do come up, and they do ask this question, which is, you know, a fair question. I have no plan to do it. I have not had, you know, meetings with political insiders about this possibility. But I do want to say this. When I ran for DA, I had no plan to do that. That went back a year. I really only started toying with that idea when I saw Seth Williams get indicted, or getting indicted. I saw him quitting. I saw a whole field of candidates with no progressive in the field. And then I waited to see if a progressive candidate would jump up. There was a name in play. And that progressive candidate did not. All of those things happened before I made the arguably crazy decision in an election nobody thought I would win, and even I thought I probably wouldn't win.
Yeah.
All those things happened before the switch flicked. Before the switch switched, whatever. All those things happened. So, you know, I do believe that there's a difference between a transactional politician who really, as they say, is whistling Hail to the Chief in high school.
Okay.
And they're contemplating every step on an imaginary ladder so they can become president, and then president of all presidents, and then king of the world.
Right.
That kind of politician is a different kind of politician than someone who, you know, didn't even run for anything until he was 56. Had no designs on it. So I'm saying, you know, we're going to see what happens.
Okay. I think you can beat her. This is me, my comment. I think you can beat her. I think progressives are in a situation now, and you just seen with Chris Rabb. I think the Democratic Party, the machine is tired and old, and I think this is the time now where, and you clearly see with the votes that, you know, Philadelphians want fair, you know, and transparency. They want fair elections. They don't want gatekeepers. I think you can beat her. She's, in my opinion, according to the activists, and you know, we keep our ears to the street, we don't have to comment, she's so vulnerable now, Porky Pig could beat her. And I'm not comparing you to a cartoon, but I think you can. And I'm going to give you the reason why. Because you, as we got you here to DA, you have a coalition of people from all walks of life and who can relate. with you and with your message. I think you can beat her. And if you run, let me know. I want to break the story, and you have my full support. I'm sorry, you do. It may sound biased, but you do. I think you can beat her. Maybe you should pray over it, kick it around, talk to Lisa about it, talk to Nate, whoever you need to talk to. But I honestly think the time is now. I think you can beat her. I think you got one more fight in you, Rocky. I think you got one more fight in you, kid.
Rocky Ford. Well, let me just say this. Those are really kind, supportive words. I appreciate that. And I mean that. I appreciate those kind words. But let me also say that I've been elected now 3 times.
Yes.
You know, some of the progressives get a grin on their face when they call me third term Larry.
Yeah.
Because they think I'm more willing than ever to just say it. You know, I got a family member who is now referring to me as Larry Unleashed. One thing I will commit is that I'm going to keep telling the truth. I'm going to keep saying when the emperor has no clothes. I have been willing to do some things that some of my good allies and some of my not so good political colleagues are unwilling to do. I've been willing to say what I had to say about Bob Brady.
Yes.
I've been willing to say something.
You stand behind that. You don't take it back. Or
I don't take any of it back. You know, it's true. I've been willing to say some things about Ryan Boyer. I'm 65 years old. I don't have that much to lose. I would rather go out, no matter how I go out, telling the truth.
You still believe he's lying, Ryan?
I mean, I didn't give him that nickname.
I know
Let me
you
just
didn't give
put
it
that
to
way.
him. I know you didn't give it to him.
That nickname has a long history, which,
It does.
you know, let me
It
just
does.
put it this way. I didn't come up with it.
Right,
So
right.
we'll just leave it right there.
Okay, I got you. All right. All right, I think that's enough, Larry, for now. Because we go into deadly waters, and I don't want us both to get in trouble.
You
at
know,
this
but that's
point.
one thing we love about you, Asa, is you have no fear. You never had any fear. You say what you mean what you say. You ain't backing down from nothing.
You can't do
And-
this type of work. You can't do it in fear. And the work that you do, because you were an activist at heart before you even got into politics. You got to have the guts to go and speak truth to power. And everyone's not built for that, you know? So whatever way, if you decide to run again, if you decide to run for another office, if you decide to go back into law, whatever you decide to do, I think you have developed enough relationships with activists where you know you will support you with that. But I'm gonna end it at this. Mr. District Attorney, thank you so much. I appreciate your transparency. I appreciate you accepting our offer. You know, we're a little engine that could up in here in studio with Asa Khalif, but thank you for always being a man you were.
I go on the little engine that could anytime you want. It's great to see you.
Thank you so
Asa.
much,
Always
Mr.
a
District
pleasure.
Attorney. Thank you very much. Okay, this is Asa Khalif. I'm saying I'm out, and I didn't curse not once, so I deserve some sort of a round of applause for that. Thank you again, Mr. Attorney.
All right.
Take care, Larry. Thank you.
you.
Peace and blessings, everyone. I'll see you in the streets.